You've done podcasts before, right?
Yep.
I saw you posted a couple.
Mm-hmm.
What were those about?
Oh, gosh, we talked about, I talked about my experience in the Department of Defense, working there and getting fired.
Oh, shit. What happened there?
It was,
If you're legally allowed to say.
no, I did not sign the severance offer, the non-disclosure, non-disparagement. So I am free to speak the truth.
Please say aliens.
No. So the problem was a government lead that came in and took over the team. I'd been there 3 years and didn't want me there.
Just didn't like you?
Well, I developed a methodology while I was there. I'm a data scientist. And she wanted to, she wrote a report to Congress where to get a recommendation for doing a recommendation, in other words, they were obligated to be doing a particular process that they weren't doing. But they said in this report to Congress that my methodology met the recommendation when it had nothing to do with it. But my methodology is pretty technical. So, but I found out about it. I found out about it. As
Methodology just in the way you run things there? Or what do you mean?
No, so I developed a predictive model for the probability of an improper payment of a healthcare claim in the Defense Health Agency. Okay.
So dumb that down a little bit for me.
Yeah,
so
so,
you
okay.
developed an algorithm that detects the likeliness of there being a bad payment?
There you go, man. You got it. And I want to be clear that it was in the Department of Defense, the Defense Health Agency, the healthcare claims for all military and veterans and their families. It's all those healthcare claims. And I worked with the data at that level, identifying the improper payments. Similar, I don't know if you, Musk said that there were improper payments in Social Security.
Oh, guaranteed.
What he was of course there is. There's some percent. But what he was talking about was an anomaly in the data, which came out later, but nobody hears that. So so I got fired because I'm a whistleblower. I ended up calling the Department of Defense Inspector General and telling them that there was a report going to Congress where they were lying. And in the course of this conversation, it came out that the team, the improper payments team, was not doing this contractually obligated medical record review. So it's looking at medical records. Are the payments appropriate? That's the process that nobody wants to do because it's expensive. It's looking at healthcare claims and
Is
what
it,
happened.
do you think, a matter of it being expensive or a matter of they just know they need to be quiet?
No, it's expensive. It should be done. In 2015, from an audit, the Government Accountability Office said, do this process. And as I said, a recommendation is you do it in the government, both federal and state.
Just a nice way of putting do it.
Right. That's the please. It's nobody to develop that process. There's a lot to it. You have to develop the database. You have to get the personnel. You have to develop a program, a government program to assess the improper payments due to medical records. Boom. Nobody wants to do it. We were doing that, a related process, looking at healthcare claims and whether they were appropriate. And just for reference, the Social Security improper payment percent from 2015 to present, 0.83%.
So almost 1%.
Almost 1%. Nothing. So those 150.
What does that translate over to? Because even though that sounds like a small percentage in that big thing, it could equal what? Millions, billions?
It is, once the numbers had dollar signs, I'm out. But millions of dollars, yes, it's a significant amount. You also, there will be errors.
Yeah.
There will be errors. because that's life, that's process.
I don't know, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I think there's also purposeful mistakes there for sure.
Oh, well, and that's what's getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
And so, exactly, there is fraud.
Yeah.
And there is this existing process to identify it.
Yeah.
That's what they're not saying either. Improper payments are mandated since, I believe, 2003 through a congressional act to assess improper payments all through the government.
Just make sure no money's being lost.
So is the payment made in the right amount to the right person for the right job, whatever.
Yeah.
That shit. CHIT or SHIT. So that's what's looked at. Is it the proper amount to the proper person for the proper thing?
Yeah. Because even with that vast amount of payments, skimming a penny off of every transaction will lead to millions.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a process in place. In the past, there's been a process in place to identify it. Is all of it identified? No, because you take a sample. You can't look at. I would pull the healthcare claims for 1 year for Defense Health Agency. 111 million healthcare claims. You can't do all of them, so you sample. You sample them, and you look at them. So we are looking at improper payments. There's a separate.
What is the amount you guys look at? Since 110 million is like undoable. What do you do? Like 100,000, 10,000?
No, we can't. What was this? We do about
give or take.
6,000, 7,000. But it's a random sample. It's scientifically, sampled.
Yeah.
So there is a process, but you don't. Here's the thing: you don't want to make the process too big because it's too expensive. You don't want to waste tax. So you don't want to make it too small so that it doesn't detect the errors. It has to be enough to be effective.
Yeah, and predictive algorithms work.
Absolutely.
Patterns repeat.
You got it.
It's crazy if you really realize that human nature, if you realize you can analyze and predict patterns if you had the correct technology to do that.
Well, okay. That is what. So one, patterns. That's what we as humans do. Absolutely. And you know what AI does?
Analyzes it.
Patterns. It analyzes nothing. AI, I can explain AI being a data scientist. I've worked in data for over 30 years.
Doesn't it just like kind of play something out based on the data it's accumulated?
So, right. So it depends on the data fed in.
Yeah, that definitely matters.
So
that's where corruption can also come in with AI.
Right. But you know what? Nobody's talking about the quality. Nobody is assuring that the data that goes in is right. Okay? There's no quality control. So shit's getting fed in and perpetuated in that AI system. AI can't say that that's not right.
Oh, no. It just does what it's told.
It says, this is all true. Okay? So there is shit that's fed. There's no quality control about what goes in.
No. Well, I guess, isn't Elon Musk trying to push more for a non-corrupt open AI style than like these government-ran AIs that they're starting to create? Like ChatGPT is pretty corrupt. You can't ask it anything about politics.
What do you mean? I'm not sure the difference between what Elon Musk is developing, which is AI, and government AI.
Well, he's pushing that it's open source, so anybody can make their own AI. But the one that he's pushing, it's like, I mean, it's also he say, she say. He might be lying to us, but he's kind of like saying that he guarantees that his AI isn't corrupt. If AI tells you the truth, no matter even if it's a detrimental to truth or something that's pushing a narrative that the news doesn't want to hear, his AI tells the truth based on actual facts.
Why believe him?
I believe him too. Some people,
No. Sorry.
Did you say why believe him?
I said why.
Oh, they said I believe him. I'm sorry.
No, why?
I can't. I don't know. I mean, I can't make a solid opinion about the guy. I've never met him, but based on just what I see on headlines, I know that sounds like a stupid answer because I haven't even done the research. But like, he seems either like an honest guy to me, or crazy theory, and he said it on Joe Rogan the other day. But you know, when you're smart enough to like say something in front of somebody and lie about it, like they think you're lying about it. He said on Joe Rogan, he's like, I'm an alien. I've been an alien the whole time.
What?
I'm an alien. Says my plan is to get off of this. I mean, I'm joking, right? But like, I wouldn't be surprised if he is some. Why is he trying to get off this planet so fast?
He's on ketamine. He's a ketamine addict.
That makes him even cooler.
It doesn't make. I don't want him making decisions. So you and I'll tell you right now.
Ketamine.
Yes, he is a ketamine addict. He's wearing glasses all the time, sunglasses, so you can't see. Yes, he's a ketamine addict. Absolutely. So let me. I appreciate that you prefaced what you said with, I haven't researched it.
Yeah.
Because and so you are thoughtful.
Because I always tell people, don't take my shit too serious. I learn a lot more from these conversations that I have with people than the actual news. Like I don't go read I don't go read data and stuff like that.
I agree. There is no news. There's very few news sources to trust, and they're not mainstream. They are not at all. But let me tell you, I mean, Elon Musk is a dangerous fuck, all right? He is evil. What he wants to do, and it's going to do it, because he's tearing down government. I worked in the federal government. Are there slackers? Sure. The majority of people work their asses off. They work more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And they don't get paid more than, you get paid for 40 hours a week in the government.
That's it.
So, and they're hardworking, most of them are hardworking people. So and call me a conspiracy theorist, and I'm okay with that.
That's all right.
He is removing all these government employees. He's getting through daily emails. He's saying, or weekly emails. It's 5 bullets. What did you do in the past week? That's what federal employees are now being required to do. Mm-hmm. You can use AI to analyze these millions of responses that are being provided.
Assuming that they're all honest. Some people are purposely putting the wrong answers or just responding with "fuck you."
Well, I mean, that's weeded out. I mean, sure, but the actual, what he's doing is incredible. Let me be clear. And no, he's not a genius. He was born on third base, and he's not a genius. No, not in that way. But anyway, so you remove. What you get is what's the government function? AI can analyze these responses. There's millions, and the ones that say "fuck you," it's weeded out. And but if you follow what federal employees are doing, which I've been doing on Reddit, they are responding, and they're saying they're following their federal employee, their supervisor's instructions.
Yeah, we kind of have to. If we're getting fired.
Sure. So that can be analyzed, and AI can say, "I'm going to do those functions." Okay, it just on a the reality of how it does it is, it's patterns though, just like you said. Mm-hmm. It taking these emails and building AI to do the functions. Okay, so you know what? It will do something. The AI will do something. Will it replace federal employees fully?
Probably not.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them because they don't they don't care about why. Tell me this. Why would they come in and the richest man on earth, and they pick U.S. aid, something that is just a pinpoint in the budget, and the goodwill, there's no profit for sure. But why pick that where you're literally keeping children alive with that program? Yeah, it's in other countries. But why pick that program?
I ask because I'm not studying it. What do you think would be better to look at?
I think it would be better to take a step back and not go at this with a chainsaw. Do I think
it's definitely been an aggressive change from what it looks like.
So the problem is you can do that in a startup, and then you build back up the things you need. So do it with the federal government. You know what? People are going to die. Literally. I mean, that's what's going to happen. We are going to have, people will die. we think we have a homeless problem now. No, I mean, so think of all the unemployed federal employees.
Yeah, I don't know what are the kind of numbers that are unemployed right now since that's happened.
I don't know the percent because it's still playing out.
Yeah.
And I think they wanted 10 to 12% of the federal employees to take the buyout that they've promised, and I think only like 3% did. And I said they may be up to 5 or 6% of federal
That's still
employees.
a lot in the wide aspect of being no government.
But the problem is, they're not doing it with any thought, with any. Where
any
is
emotion.
the waste?
Only they're doing-
It's not just an emotion. It shouldn't have emotion, but you can't just say this USAID program. It doesn't help anyone in our country. Boom, cut it. Was that the right thing?
I don't know.
Well, that program builds so much goodwill around the world for pennies.
You think there's a possibility they might just be trying to, like how you kind of maybe saying, break it down. I know you weren't saying that, you were saying do it with a startup, but maybe they're trying to break it down and then start up again with a clean slate.
Sure, but so what you're doing is what the carnage along the way
Yeah, it's
are
pretty
people's
fucked up.
lives.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem. And so, see, a government exists to do for the people what they can't do for themselves, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Build roads. We can't do that. Enforce laws. Well, we can't. We need some organized unit,
So
to do that.
A bunch of animals if it weren't.
Right. So the government exists to do things that we as individuals can't do for ourselves. They exist to make sure, yes, for regulations, to make sure that cars are safe, to make sure our food is safe. We can't do that. The government can. And what Musk is saying, and why is it Musk and not Trump? There's another question. You don't see, so Musk is saying just throw it all out. It's.
I think he's pretty emotionless to that part. He might just be like, yeah, cut it all out. People are gonna die. All right, cut it all out.
Yeah, and I think the genius of having AI. Have a government essentially be AI. Wow, that's a vision in the future. But you're again
dangerous possibility too.
It's dangerous because AI is unregulated, and as I said, it's not even regulated for what goes in it, the garbage that goes in it, and what happens afterwards. Look at so
what people are fed is what we believe. People are so taken by headlines. Like whatever, so many people just believe just headlines. That's what they live their life by, just headlines.
I think so. I think which means we don't think, right?
I think we do, but I think they've also learned how to tap in or set into our subconscious. As conspiracy as that sounds, I think the people who really run this globe really know how to run us as humans. They really understand how the brain works. If me and you have this kind of intelligence, who's to say whoever's up there doesn't have some kind of superb intelligence that we don't even know about? Can't even contemplate the technology they might have to run us.
I don't believe they're superior to us in any way.
I'm not necessarily superior, but they've dedicated, maybe they have a type of people that have dedicated their lives to training their brain that is just as powerful as ours, but they've been, that's their mission. That's what they've been taught to do, and that's what they learn how to do. I really feel that we have the capacity to learn that.
I believe that too, but I don't think those are the people that are in charge right now. I don't. In fact,
no. But I'm saying they can. Who's to say they don't have that data from people they're paying off? These smart people who they pay off to know how to like analyze us and handle us and tell and patterns. Hey, you know what? Humans are going to do this in 2025. Hey, we have this algorithm that shows that Chris and Nance are going to do this. Like obviously I'm exaggerating, but stuff like that.
But with that knowledge, yeah, they can do that. With that knowledge, then they're not going. They don't like my protest sign at the Capitol. I mean, literally, what I put on my protest sign was the name of these coders that were going into the data in the Treasury payment system, because that data is corrupt now. It's the minute they went in and touched it. And Elon said, "Don't name names," and he's still saying that. That's what was on my protest sign. So that's the other thing. As a data person, you protect data, and I also know, having worked in the Department of Defense, and I had to get security clearance to look at healthcare claims. And I had to fill out, that's the SF-86. It's like a 50-page form. It is crazy. And everybody that goes to get a security clearance, that's the first step. And then I got interviewed because they didn't like some of my answers. So there's a process to go through to get, and with good reason. My husband, who is retired now, so I can share this, he had top secret clearance. He had to get polygraphs to get clearance.
Even just to be like a regular officer, you have to get a polygraph.
Absolutely, because you have knowledge that can help others. I had, in theory, knowledge. I had access to Trump's healthcare claims. Okay. I didn't look at them. I had no need to. It's a violation. It's a HIPAA violation, and
that would show like, hey,
it's an ethical violation.
Would that show though? Like, if you like, hey, it shows on our database that Nance logged into fucking Trump's.
It did not. See, I had. Well, they would know. Myself and one other person had access to the data. Yeah, they'd know who did it.
Yeah.
But again, I had no desire to or reason. So I didn't do it. But what I'm saying is the sensitivity of the data that's out there, and these kids who, one of them during an internship had leaked a company secret to another company. And this is the kid who's getting access to the most sensitive data. It's your data.
Is it like to profit for the other company?
Well, he did it when he was an intern. He leaked it. Yeah.
Profit for them?
I guess. Yeah. Maybe that company will hire me now. They don't hire people.
Or they'll throw them some change?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, the company determined that he had done that. It's knowledge, public knowledge. This is a kid that's going in and getting knows your income, knows your taxes, knows...
Oh, everything's known. I mean, even years ago since Snowden. I mean, it's always shown that they know what we're doing. They did, but we just have been also trained to not care.
Well, that's true. But as a data scientist, though, my whole life and trained, this is wrong.
Oh yeah, I'm saying there's a few people like you that know, and
they should not have. And now that they have it, it's too late.
Yeah, it's not going away anymore.
They have installed what's called the back door. It's to get access to the data at any time. It's a hacker thing.
Yeah.
They've changed data. They stopped payments to programs. So it's corrupt. The data is corrupt, and what's happening is corruption. It is corruption right in front of our faces.
But I always ask myself what that corruption is for. If these people are so rich, what could they possibly be doing with this corruption? Is it just a matter of, like, I ask myself, do these people deep down inside their heart, are they like us? Are they like genuinely hoping for happiness and people's happiness? Are they evil inside? Are they just so manipulated by the money and so much pressure that they don't even think like we do? Or I always wonder that, like, if they're like if I sat down with Elon Musk or Trump, who's to say I wouldn't have an amazing conversation and realize that these people are good, wholehearted people?
Well, Trump must have some charisma, right, along the way, that he's got so many allies. I can't see it personally, but I think that power begets power. It's about, and money is power. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's and the ketamine doesn't help in his thinking. But he's not the only one. I don't know. I don't get it either. What I think, your thinking gets corrupted by all that money, and you lose. I think you must just lose perspective, because
I think so. Because even if you think about the simple fact, when you get your paycheck, it feels amazing.
Right.
You want to go spend this? You can just hang up, Manny. You feel amazing. You want to go spend $4 here, $4 there. You don't care about that. But like, imagine if that multiplies by billions and trillions. Does that change you as a person? do you realize that maybe you were wrong to think how you used to think? Because I always ask myself, what if we're crazy? What do you mean you were crazy? And like the guys that are up top are really knowledgeable and we don't even know that, or it's vice versa. What if we are the wise ones and they've just fucking lost it?
Well, I wonder if because you're saying that they have some sort of introspection, self-awareness. I don't know
Yeah.
that they have that.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, I wonder if they're aware of what they're doing or they're just so blinded by it.
I don't,
Because money will blind you. Who's to say that if someone offered me millions and millions, I wouldn't change as a person either?
right. Because people do. I know there's someone I know in Denver who she lives in Cherry Hills, earned it. She in marketing, but lots and lots of money. But honestly, one of the classiest people I've ever met. She's so it doesn't always corrupt.
Doesn't always change,
And she is So it doesn't always change people, but it sure. But and can I put look at all these white men. They're all white men, and so I believe there is the patriarchy, and I believe there is an entitlement. They feel
definitely.
entitled,
Definitely.
and that's part of the problem. That may be a big part of the problem.
Yeah, that could be. That's tough to say because there are, obviously people of color in the government and high levels of power also.
But look at Trump, his cadre are all white men, and they're the billionaires. Again, the money.
Like I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm just as all like conspiracy theories, but I've also heard that Obama is still has his hands very in the pudding to say of the government, even though he's not our president anymore. Crazy theories that he's still involved in a lot of things that we don't even know about, and like a lot of these things are also not funded directly by him, but funded by people that he has not power over, but that help him. They trust him, so they fund him. But I don't know.
Well, so they're funding him, or they're funding the government, and he's in there.
I guess from what I've heard, both. That he's also in these psyops that we consider or not a psyop. That's the wrong word. What's up, Jay? That he's also involved, like in these operations but like he's just not a face. That he's still involved in a lot of things, but he's just not a face. He's not the face anymore.
Well, I think if that was the case, or that is the case that he's involved in, I mean that's not that's not right. But he doesn't have any power anymore.
Yeah,
it's gone. I think all the power is up there with Elon Musk. And let me also, Elon Musk is here illegally. He came into this country on a student visa to go to I believe Stanford. He never went to college. He never went to school. So he is here legally. If you want to talk about the law,
never developed a citizenship.
He may be but he came in illegally and stayed illegally. I don't know his. I don't know his citizenship status. I've had that question myself, but I haven't researched it.
Me either.
But he sure should be with what he's doing.
I would imagine he's been here so long. He's such a valuable asset to the U.S. I would hope he's a citizen at least.
I don't know that I agree. How is he a valuable asset to the U.S.?
Space travel, I think, is very important for us. I do believe that the world for humans is going to end eventually or reset if we don't have a second planet.
Yeah.
I do believe in that. And
okay.
I think everything else just trickles down to human behavior and these things we've created, and really none of it matters except, I mean, as hippie as this sounds, it's just stuff all we've created. Governments, everything's just all human patterns, human behaviors, and none of that really matters, but we've just lost it throughout time.
Well, okay, what you just described is society, right? And the societal contract that people are treated a certain way has been broken.
Oh, yeah. A long time ago.
No, not a long time ago. With this administration, what they are doing is they have broken the societal contract.
Well, I mean,
where
it's
you
been worse
don't-
back then too. So before we had our government, like slavery or Hitler days, like it's definitely been worse.
It has been worse for certain people.
Yeah.
But what he is doing, he is doing exactly what they are doing is exactly Hitler's playbook.
Not so exaggerated, but yeah, like with the data,
not.
like
It
with
is.
the databases and all that, like
Well-
like you know, I remember they had to have the Jews signed up into a database, and then the
But no, I mean the authoritarian. They're saying the media are all bad. They're saying the media, and the media aren't all lying. They have their biases. I look at Fox News. I look at CNN. I hate them both. But that's the two sides. I'm like, I gotta look at what they're saying.
You have
Because
to.
that's the main things.
Chances are, if you look at the headlines and do your research, you'll find a better truth of what you're interested in.
Well, the CNN, there's certain things, and Fox, there's certain things, and then there's the truth.
Yeah.
But there is media that's AP News, for example, getting kicked out for this ridiculous renaming of the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
They kicked out a legitimate news. I mean, there's no question AP News is legitimate. It's about as middle of the road as you're going to get, honestly. Kicked out because they're controlling the media. That's
definitely.
that's out of the playbook. A democracy depends upon the fourth estate, which is a free media, a free and truthful media.
Which we don't have.
We don't have that anymore.
I don't think that's ever going to come back either, sadly.
It can't because of social media, honestly. Because social media can reach people so easily.
Oh, yeah.
So
Scrolling will just, maybe, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I feel like people don't understand how you can subliminally put stuff in your head without knowing. By scrolling, by looking at a headline over and over. And have you ever watched the news? They repeat it over and over and over and over all day.
yeah.
And that just, even if you're not paying attention or you don't think you're paying attention, your brain's paying attention.
Absolutely. And there didn't us't to be news 24/7.
No.
It
there
was on at 5 and 6.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
You
that.
remember that? Oh,
Yeah.
you look young.
Well, that all went away, I think, like, what would you say, like late 90s, early 2000s? It started, like, really going away.
I'm trying to think when to me it was CNN. On TV, CNN was the 24/7 news feed, and talk about repeating. So yeah, that was about that time frame.
Yeah,
right?
that's when I realized that the news changed. But I do remember old school news. Like my parents would sit us down. It was news time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's just news all fucking day or social media.
It's garbage all day, right?
Well, it's just everybody wants to make money. And
Right.
if you can push a lie as clickbait, if a click makes you money, I'll push lies all fucking day.
Yeah, you know what? And that's what this country's about now too, right? Making money.
Yeah.
Everything. It's every decision that's being made. It's like
I feel like
how we make money.
I feel like it's really blinded people too to see how beautiful our country is and what we do have and what we should be appreciative of compared to other places.
We're told constantly we're not good enough because we don't have this, we don't have that. We need to look a certain way, right?
Yeah.
We need to have things, really, right?
Yeah.
That's what's been sold to us too. You're not good enough unless you don't look good enough unless you have hair transplants, you bald men. And so it's sold to us that
Like I don't think
to be
suicide.
unhappy.
Do
To
you think
be
suicide existed back in the tribe days? Aside from it being a sacrificial thing, I don't think so. I feel like that became like a
That's
modern problem.
That is a great question. And my longest friend for 30 plus years, I'll have to ask her. She's a psychiatrist.
You'd have to ask. It'd be pretty cool because, like, I feel like a lot of things. Like, I feel like you don't have an Aztec with anxiety running around. You know, like.
Right. Well, and also think about life then. Life then, you got up and it's like, how am I going to get the food to eat today? Where am I going to get it?
Yeah.
I got to go carry my water. You focused on survival
Yeah.
and that's how you spent all your time.
Yeah. All that's meant for us
so-
now.
And now it's all done and we're open to all this input and we've been fed garbage now with social media.
Yeah.
So it was different then, right?
Anxiety is a real emotion, but it's different for us than it was back then. Anxiety, that feeling was probably around, but it was real anxiety. The anxiety that a fucking jaguar is going to eat you if you take a shit too long, or you better fuck fast or this bear's going to eat you.
Right. True. But no, I think, and I've struggled with some mental health stuff, with anxiety and depression. So it is real.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And people, it's interesting to me that people who don't believe that it's real, it's like, but you believe that you can have problems with your heart or your liver, so you can have problems with your brain.
I guess what I'm saying is the reason that our modern day anxiety exists is because we don't have, because you said we don't have to worry about our primal needs. That's all meant. Mm-hmm. So all our energy goes to what don't we have? What do we need? What's wrong? Why is this wrong? What's going on in my, like, instead of being like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I sounding crazy?
And no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's, what else do I need? And you know what? Here, like, you and I are the same, okay? We want a roof over our heads. We want someplace to live. We want loved ones. We want the people around us. We want to be safe, secure, fed, good, our health taken care of.
Yeah.
At a basic level, that's what we want, right? And those are our needs.
Yeah.
And so really, I just want to share, I realize my needs, I'm overprivileged. I've been my whole life.
Oh, me too.
And I acknowledge that. But, so my needs are met easily.
Yeah.
And so most of my problems are first world problems. My family right now is healthy. That won't continue. And I've had health problems. That's life.
Yeah.
But then appreciating, okay, my dog wants to be petted. I'll sit here for half an hour and pet the dog.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting there thinking about what I need to do.
Exactly. Like, I do that with my kids sometimes. I'm like, why can't I just enjoy my kid running around laughing instead of thinking like, oh man, I should be making money. Oh, I should be prepping for this. Oh, I should be planning ahead of time for this. You just can't sit down. Even this conversation we're having is beautiful.
Yeah.
And we get like, my mind's still spiraling about my kids in the back of my head. My mind's still thinking about first world problems in the back of my head.
Yeah.
But that's just how you're saying. But it's not to say that you should take away from it. It's a real problem, and it can definitely ruin your life, and it causes some people to end their life.
Oh, yeah. I've had 3 people close to me who have committed suicide.
I've only had one person that I knew kind of close, and it was, from what I heard, an accidental overdose when fentanyl was still coming out. Just thought it was something else.
Yeah.
Took something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those blues are real.
It's disabling. Sometimes depression can really be disabling, and in our society, it's not okay to be sick.
That guy who just left, he was here. Javi, he's a lot younger than us. He's 20, I think, 21. And sometimes I see him stress out, and I tell him, dude, the stuff you're stressing out about, you're going to look at my age. Even though I'm only 11 years older than you, you're going to look down the road and be like, the problems I'm thinking about are so stupid. They're all in your head. And I was like, dude, really? The problems you just told me? I feel bad for you, but buck the fuck up. You got a roof, you got food, you got your truck, you got clothes, you got glasses, you got good health. Everything is fine.
Well, and the question to ask is this going to matter in 5 years? Right? He's so stressing about something. Is it going to matter in 5 years?
Yeah.
Usually the answer is no.
Usually no. What stresses me out a lot is like future of my kids.
Okay, kids are a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's something else. That changed me as a person.
It changes everybody. And if it doesn't, then you're fucked up.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. Yeah, there are people that it doesn't change them. That's so strange.
You learn to, I think, for myself, and I think I'll observe, I have a brother with kids, one brother with kids, another brother without, and a sister without kids. But having kids makes you get outside yourself. You're not first.
No.
And you can't experience that unless you have kids. Even with a dog, a dog's a good practice.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I've told people before I had my kid, I used to think, "Oh, this is my kid, my furry little boy." Like, no, it's not the same. Yeah, I love my dog, but my kid is just something else. Right. I don't know how to explain it. It's like you said, you have to go through it to know it.
Right.
And so, one thing is like, I have one biological kid and one stepson. And he has like one daughter, and we were comparing, like talking, because I felt selfish about it. We were talking about, would you ever have any more kids? And I've came to the agreement with my girl, my wife, that even if I split up, I don't want any more kids. She got her surgery to where she's like, if me and you split up, I don't want any more kids. And I asked myself why that really is. And I don't think I can feel the same I feel for my kid, even if it was a second or third or fourth kid, what I feel for my kid. And that's kind of fucked up, but it's true. I don't.
No, it's just what you believe. And if you had a second kid, you would find out it's not true.
Maybe you're right.
You don't love the second kid. I don't know. Let me say this.
Because I've asked multiple parents this, because I think that maybe I'm just an asshole, but I've asked them, and he's like, dude, it definitely. They all say they're all their own experience, but the experience you have with your first kid is unique. It's not going to be like anybody else. It's all going to be different. It's like the second time around, quote unquote, or the third time around is not the same.
Right. That's true. That's true. The wonder of
you might take a bullet for all of them, but it's not to say that one isn't different than the other
Sure.
in your head or how you feel about them.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Do you have kids?
Yeah, 2 kids, a daughter who 25 and a son who's 27. And
So you didn't have them that far apart, 2 years, huh? But you had already gotten the hang of things a little bit.
what's that?
You already gotten the hang of at least having a baby.
You think you have the hang, and then you have the second one, and it's all different. Seriously, it's a different kid entirely. So yeah, and I have a son and a daughter, and obviously they're different, but temperamentally, totally opposite.
Yeah, they're two.
I mean, he is just totally. And so it tells me how little influence we have as parents. I mean, but here's what they share.
Do you see a lot of connections with you though? I see
Yes.
so much similarities in my kid.
What they do share are the values that we taught them. The values, and to respect other people, to grow as people, and so they have those basic things in common for sure. And they do. They learn from their parents. Way
Like
more.
you never saw them do anything, and you're like, hey, I did the same thing when I was a kid. I analyzed that same situation that same way when I was a kid. That's so strange.
Oh my gosh, it's something.
I think that rubs off. I think that's transferable genetically. Trauma can transfer genetically. Intelligence can transfer genetically. At least I believe so. I don't have any data to support it.
Yeah. well, and I'll tell you, as actually, I did study like cognitive psychology, not counseling psychology, any of that, but in terms of thinking in our brains. Lost my train of thought.
That's all right. It happens. I noticed, maybe I'd call it crazy that I was analyzing you, but from hearing your jokes, I saw they were really introspective, and I saw a lot of your jokes require a lot of thought, and I've listened to them, and it took me like a second time around to listen to it. Like, oh, there's smartness in that joke, and not a lot of people understand that. And that's one reason I wanted to talk to you, because like I think this person knows. Sorry, but it sounds fucked up. When the first time I ever met you, I didn't know anything about you. Obviously, I'm just reading you from the outside before I even heard you on a mic. I just thought, another crazy fucking comedian. Like,
Sure, yeah.
And as I got to see you do more and more sets, I saw your material, and I think everybody's material is a representation of their self and their self-thought. Unless you're a comedian that does a completely different character than when you're on stage, but most of the time not. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I like how she thinks. I think there's something there that we can talk about. And look, we've been talking to over an hour already about something, one subject.
Right. Well, it's, so I do the open mic at Lions Lair a lot.
Yeah.
The Monday night. And so Anthony knows me. Crawford knows me. And he came up to me about a month ago. And I've been doing it, doing comedy a little over a year, and really the open mics about 8 months, 9 months. But he's seen a lot of me. But he came up to me one time and he said, after watching me, he goes, "People are dumb. People are dumb. You have to explain. My jokes make people think too much."
Yeah.
And it's not that people are dumb. It's that people don't want to work hard when they're watching comedy.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't want to work.
No.
I don't want to work when I'm watching
I've listened
comedy.
to great comedy with intelligence. You like George Carlin?
Oh,
George
God.
Carlin is so introspective. And
he was a genius in my opinion.
There's a lot of good comics that do that.
Right, and
A lot of times that comes with craziness. Like poor guy, the comedian. His comedy. If you like look back at it now, is so introspective and somewhat sad when you look at the stuff he talked about. What is a comedian that hung himself? Ray. Oh fuck. He's on Jumanji.
Oh.
Robin Williams.
Oh, Robin Williams,
Robin
right.
Williams was so introspective and so smart.
Right. Well, comedians are all a little bent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
I think it all comes with a little bit of trauma.
Right. And I want to, you mentioned birth trauma and generational trauma, and that absolutely carries.
Yeah.
For sure. You're born with trauma. You are, and birth itself is traumatic.
And stand up is cheaper than therapy. You can just go and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes simply, as funny as it sounds, just talking about it is enough. Who gives a shit if you get a laugh or not? It's just letting it out is enough. You need to let it out.
Yeah. But you mentioned, I just because you mentioned, your first impression and seeing me, and I need to overcome that.
Maybe in the art of comedy, yeah. But as a person, I saw that you were very introspective. And you have a lot more going on than people think. Yeah, a little joke is like, when you really analyze it, not a lot of people will, but I took the time to analyze it because I was replaying our sets, and I started listening to people's sets. And I try to analyze people's comedy because I try to work on mine. But I was like, okay, these have a lot of thought. And then some flew right by me the day of. And like you're saying, people might not be dumb, but the environment for comedy dumbs down people. We're drunk, we're high,
Oh, God, right.
we're relaxed. We don't want to fucking think.
Right.
Some people do. I like introspective comedy, but
Generally, is that what people are looking for? So I've never seen you do comedy, and I want to.
it's not
to
that
see
good.
you. Huh?
It's not that good.
Well, most of us are really not that good.
No.
So
I've had some nightmares at the Gong Show. Yeah.
I bet your best time's better than mine. In
No,
the
it's
Doug
been
Show.
about 2 minutes.
Yeah, same. And I get so mad when they do it because it's like, it's not about the joke. Like, I have a joke about what do you call a male Karen? Is my
Probably fucking Steve.
and a man. That's the joke? Is a male Karen is just a man. That's what a man is like. Well, this woman got up. This was at the Gong Show. She goes,
You think so? Dudes are pretty chill. Karens are kind of bitches. For the most part, dudes are pretty chill.
I need to hang with your dudes.
Modern day people are kind of wusses, and they do complain a lot. I get that, but I think if you find somebody from like 2005 and below born, we're all pretty chill.
Yeah. Well. Anyway. So a woman though. This was at the Gong Show, and I told this joke, and she got up and she said, "My name's Karen."
Oh,
And gonged me for that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, the Gong Show is fun. That's a fun show too.
that sucks too. That's what we're here for, to please the crowd in a sense, because that's why we're all up there. We all want to get a laugh. We all want to please the crowd, but sometimes the crowd is the defining factor too. You might have an amazing joke, and what you said pissed off one wrong person, and now your whole set's fucked.
Yeah. Well, and actually, so it happened here. I didn't realize what was going on. A month or so ago when I was up, and people were flashing their phones, right? Because I was telling a joke about women losing their rights, reproductive, their say over their body, and that they should have bullets. Is the joke? It's a silly joke, but I got lighted. They didn't like it.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it. There was a young woman with them. She came up to me after the set and said, I thought your joke was funny. She said, sorry, they don't like women, feminism jokes.
A lot of people don't.
Well, they don't. But
Or any topic that requires some thought, like you're saying.
Well, but I'm going to equate telling a joke about being a woman is equivalent to Crawford telling a joke about being black.
Yeah, or a dude talking about getting his dick sucked or some shit.
No.
Maybe not so raunchy, but a dude being a dude in a sense.
No, I think it's different because getting his dick sucked is a behavior, something that happened. Crawford telling a joke about being black, or me telling a joke about being a woman, because I am trying to make a point with my comedy a lot. I think you see that.
Yeah.
But being silenced because they don't want to hear a woman speak up, that's what happened.
That could be it. That's a fair analysis that they took, and that they took your comedy as like how could I word it? Like almost like a comedic protest act, like almost like you're protesting comedically. And some people
and maybe I am, but I'm gonna give it. If Crawford was up there making jokes about being black and the black experience, and somebody goes, I don't want to hear about black people. I don't want to hear about being black. Is that okay?
I yes and no, because you have the right to voice your opinion. If you don't want to hear about, maybe that's not your cup of tea, that's fine. You can voice that out. But I would hope that if they ask you, why not, motherfucker, like you have a reasonable answer. Not just like, I don't like black people. Like, I hope you have a introspective thought on why you don't like listening to black jokes. But
well, and I got gonged in the show here for talking about being a woman. And I will equate that with Crawford. I'm just using him as an example. I'm going to equate it to him talking about being black. So in the sense that, is it okay to gong Crawford for talking about being black? You said yes and no. I'm going to take that yes and no for being gonged for talking about being a woman.
yeah, because at the end of the day, like obviously, I get your message. It shouldn't be frowned upon. It should be it shouldn't be. It should be just like any other joke, like you're saying. But
or just sit there and don't silence me.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at the joke.
Yeah.
Don't silence me. That's my point.
That's a fair analysis.
Yeah, and I talked to Crawford about it because I was so mad. I was so mad after that night.
I think the way I handled the lights and all that too.
And I didn't know. I hadn't been here at the beginning. I didn't know the
process.
I didn't even know what was going on.
You thought I was just being an asshole, like
I didn't know what the fuck was going on. All right, I didn't, but I knew that I was getting off stage.
Yeah, we after that, because it was also my first time handling. I told them, like, I don't think we should handle it that way. It doesn't feel right. Like it just doesn't feel right. It feels a little aggressive. And I just don't have the pantalones to do it like PJ does, you know?
Yeah.
PJ can do it and get away with it. I just did that. I don't got it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this feels rude coming from me.
Yeah.
So we handle it different now. And if you saw on this show, we do the lights once, you get the tension music.
Yeah.
And then it quiets down. But if you get that again, okay, then we'll find. I have like a funny way now to get you out of like some funny music, like better luck next time or some shit. But but we didn't handle it right that day.
Yeah. Well, and really, however it was handled. Excuse me, I keep hitting the table. My issue was getting silenced for talking about being a.
But you'd be surprised if you really talk to the people in our crowd and they don't even know the message that you're pushing. They're just like, they don't even think that deep into it. They're just like, we didn't like the joke. They don't even think that far ahead.
Well, and I think they don't want to hear. I think you're right, but unfortunately, misogyny is part of our society.
It could be.
I mean, it is. I see it every day. I live around boomers, a bunch of white boomers, men. Yeah.
Maybe I've just been privileged my whole life. I've never dealt with it. Also, like, I mean, I've never had to deal with racism. Never had to deal with, like, being, like, white privilege, quote unquote, or Mexican privilege, quote unquote, whatever. I guess I'm a pretty olive color, but I've never had to deal with that kind of, like, oppression. Now that I think about it in my life, I've never been oppressed.
I think that's true of most, I will say, white men. I'll say that. So I lived in Chicago for a couple years before moving to Denver, and I worked. There are a lot of black people where I lived. I was actually the minority in my apartment building. I was just a block from the city limits. But I remember I took a cab one time, and the cabbie was black, and he was saying, so this is 30. This was, I was there 93, 94, 95.
So I was born 93.
Yeah. But this cabbie said, I'm not voting for Democrats. They don't do anything for it. They've said they'll help, and they don't. And I believe that's still true today. I
I
think
don't really lean towards one or the other,
towards what?
like
What's that?
Democrat or Republican.
Oh, well, and I'm just saying, at the time it was like, in theory, Democrats are supposedly represent
the minority, right?
minorities. Supposedly. I used to believe that.
You're trained to believe that.
We are
as a
trained.
Hispanic, we were trained to believe that.
Yeah.
My mom always told us, always vote Democrat. The Democrats are the ones that are for us. Like,
Right.
but now you realize that's not true.
I don't. I think they're just for themselves. I'm calling every day, leaving messages to our senators.
You think there's
saying,
some
"What are
guy
you
picking up
doing?"
your calls? He's
But they
like,
have
fuck, it's
what
Nance
they
again.
do, right. So they analyze all the calls and come up with a theme for the calls. They're listening.
Yeah, they have to, right? They have to. They have to answer the calls, right?
They have to. They have to. But does it matter?
No, we're too small to make any kind of impact, and like we're too oppressed to be able to gather any kind of power together. We'll get shut down before we ever do.
Yeah. So I believe. So what I wanted to say also about Chicago so I believe black people, they are just about as oppressed as they were even before civil rights. It's just not legal. So I do believe that they're oppressed. I do. I do.
Yeah, they have a label on them. Definitely, when you just don't know a black guy, you automatically analyze what's in your head about black people,
Right.
and that's fucked up. But I don't know if I think we're just too far gone.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think there's enough for change anymore unless we blow ourselves up and start over.
Well, so there's something called the butterfly effect. Maybe that's a sex thing. I don't know. But
Is
let's.
it? Thought it was a movie.
There could be. No, but the idea is when a butterfly moves its wings, or up, thrown, it creates change. It create, the leaves will move a little bit and be nourished a little differently, and that makes the tree different, and that then makes the environment different. And so we are tiny, but all of us tiny parts make up the whole.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know have you seen these pictures from like the James Webb Telescope of it's the pillars of creation is the big one. It's like fucking 33 billion. I think pillars of creation is 10 billion light years ago. These pictures it's through time.
That was on Earth?
This is it's the pictures they are taking is it's the universe, what the universe looked like.
To their
billion,
knowledge, right? Because they could be completely wrong.
It is it's pictures. It's essentially it's not photos. What it does is it takes for the technical video people, it takes 28 grayscale measures of what's there, and it's the different grayscales that result, and then they add color to make it so you can see
to
it
pick up
easier.
different gases and all that.
The gases are what produce the different, and then there's a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that produces different stuff. So it's what we were 10 billion light years ago. That matter of the universe 10 billion light years ago evolved to this.
Yeah, atoms and all that.
This, us, this table. You look at those the picture of 10 billion light years ago of matter. It's the universe is matter.
Well, I don't think we're the first of our kind either. I think there's definitely other planets out there with people like us.
I totally agree. And I don't like the term aliens. They just don't live here.
Yeah. We're aliens to them.
Right. We're there, so I totally agree. But the idea is we are continuing to evolve. And you know what? Talk about blowing it up. Yep. Time to upgrade version 2.0, civilization 2.0, because this one is fucked up. We have destroyed this planet. This
society also. I mean, it's not horrible. Life is great. Life is beautiful right now. It's amazing, but it's also a lot of corruption and fucked up in the world.
But we've destroyed the earth. Okay, so the Native Americans had this land for thousands of years and took care of it. We took it from them. We gaslit them, and took the land, and we've destroyed it in less than 300 years.
Yeah.
They maintain, and Native Americans, they have a commitment to the earth. That's part of their culture.
Pros and cons. They're also beheading each other, but
Well, so are we.
in a sense, yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is they took care of the earth literally for facts are facts. They took care of this earth for thousands of years, and we've destroyed it in a few
They
hundred.
weren't brainwashed by technology.
Right. But they also they have they aren't there are a lot of things.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that have brought us to where we are that aren't our fault.
Oh no.
But
Also,
we're kind of awful things now.
I think we are. We're kind of like a parasite for the world. And that's why we're fucking it up. And that's why I think eventually that we reset, or a lot of us die and then we rebuild, or we get off of this planet. Because I don't think it's going to last forever.
No, it's not for sure.
It's not for sure.
Well,
it could
you know
last
what,
forever.
though? If all the people were wiped out, if we all died tonight, and this earth would regenerate.
It would,
the earth would be cool. That's great.
We'll start over.
And so that's the best possible thing that could happen to this planet is all us humans.
Just like us. It'll build a scab. The scab will fall off.
Yeah.
And it's good to go.
Yeah.
I think that's happened before, too. I think there's also, have you seen the data they found? We could talk about this for fucking days. One more thing, and then we'll talk one little bit about comedy, and we'll end it. Have you heard how, about the Younger Dryas impact?
No.
How there's theories and evidence now that show that human civilization has been around a lot longer than we've been taught to believe in regular, school books and all that. Mm-hmm. Based off of maybe not gases, how you're saying, but artifacts that they found that these artifacts can't be this old. They're definitely this old. And it shows that they're older than what we've interpreted. Also things like the Egyptians, how the fuck were they cutting these pyramids with no technology?
Right.
That could be a whole nother fucking conversation. I don't know how they were doing that. I have a theory that they either had giants or they knew how to control the sun to cut shit. But
wow.
That
is another conversation. I need more shrooms for that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We could all three of us take shrooms. You're a very introspective thought, and I like it. I tell people these things, and they look at me like, "You're fucking crazy." What's this podcast about? I thought we were here to fucking talk about. When was your first open mic?
When was it?
What was it?
What was it?
Yeah.
It was definitely at Rise Comedy.
Rise Comedy.
Yes. So Rise Comedy is, downtown. I took a comedy class. That's how I started comedy. I took a 3-day how to do stand-up comedy from Christy Buckley. And
you think I'm not being a smartass. You think those work? Because I hear a lot of podcasts, a lot of comedians say those classes are bullshit. You can't teach people how to do comedy.
You know what? I think it depends on the person. I spent 13 years in college, so I like to be taught things, and that's I got a lot out of it. There are people that don't.
Did it teach you how to write, or did it teach you more stage presence, how to be on stage?
It taught me the big picture. Honestly, it taught me the big picture for sure, because I thought, okay, I'm going to come in and learn how to get up on stage and tell jokes. Well, there's so much more to stand-up comedy, like we know, right? I mean, so it learned those things. You do need a stage presence.
That's one thing I feel I really lack, and I could just be another shitty comedian. I feel I have great jokes, but horrible stage presence. I feel I get too nervous, and I can't sell it.
Yeah. Well, I was helped a lot because in my career, I did a lot of presentations. I was up in front of people a lot. So it actually was a pro and con. Getting up in front of people and having, I had how to present a predictive analytic model persona.
Yeah.
That's not the persona you want for comedy. So it was learning some things, and that, but that, one thing I've learned, and I think this is true, your persona has to be true to you. It's still you.
People will tell if you're lying. If you're
it'll come through.
They'll know if you're bullshitting.
They'll come through. It'll come through that it's not, you're not being authentic.
Mm-hmm. Even if authentic means diving into a Larry the Cable Guy character.
Whatever authentic is for you. but I can't get up and pretend I was a high school cheerleader or I can't be anything but myself up there. And like I said, I think it will ultimately not you, but you will come through up there. And
What if the people don't like the you?
that is a problem.
That could be a problem.
And we are all, like I said, all us comedians are a little bent, right? We look at the world, and that's what makes us comics, because we see it a little different.
It's a beautiful thing to have comedy in your head. It can make the world so much easier. Have you ever laughed at a funeral? It's amazing. You can turn a horrible situation into a funny one.
Well, and I did that. Yeah, I actually, after it was a coworker who committed suicide, and they were sharing with the team, and yeah, humor comes out sometimes. I don't remember exactly what I said, but and I was close to him. It was a terrible thing. It really was. And,
yeah, it sucks when you think of that when you're close to them, because you imagine the suffering in their head before they did it, because a suicide isn't like an overnight situation. No. So that's what sucks about that.
And I have a friend who lost her husband about a year ago, and in a really tragic. It was a suicide, and she is having a terrible time accepting it. That she said he wouldn't choose to leave me, and we're telling her, you're not making a choice at that point. You just want out. If it's not, I don't want this person or this or that.
She can't accept the fact that he did it.
Right, but I'm saying she can't. She's coming to. But I think what people need to understand, like you said,
there's so
when
much.
people commit suicide, you're in a different place.
Oh yeah,
you different place, and
I've never been like suicidal sad, but I've been sad. I can't imagine what suicidal sad if darkness feels like.
It's thank you for recognizing that you have been really sad, but that it's not what people with depression experience.
No, it's definitely something else.
So anyway, I believe in psychiatric meds. I believe they are totally overprescribed now, but they shouldn't go away.
Hallucinogenics help a lot too, from what I've heard, or
Yes.
even from my personal experience. Yep. Shrooms changed my life. Shrooms made me a better person.
Same.
I don't do shrooms every day anymore because I got kids. I can't trip around my kids.
Yeah.
Because the introspective thought comes after the loopiness in your vision, at least for me in my experience. It's for me, it goes visual trip, laughing, really intensive thought you might laugh about or cry about, and then it's over. You go to sleep. But the introspective thought that I like comes with tripping, and I can't trip around my kids.
Yeah. Well, actually, there was 2 or 3 years ago, the Psychedelic Science Conference was in Denver, and it had thousands of people. And there were 3 tracks, but I went to it because I actually have done research kind of throughout my career as well. But I also like psychedelics. But Johns Hopkins University has a psychedelics research program. They are doing studies on psychedelics for depression, for eating disorders. They have proven that MDMA helps veterans with PTSD.
Ketamine too, right?
Ketamine is used in therapy for depression. But at this conference, I don't know if you know who Rick Perry is. He was a big Republican governor, very Republican, of Texas. He was at that psychedelic science conference. He was at the opening speaker remarks. So thousands of people. He was there to say, legalize MDMA for veterans PTSD. He is a Republican. Right, but he's a Republican showing up saying research has shown this and this should be legalized. So absolutely psychedelics. I believe it's psychedelics microdosing. I think it was microdosing that got me into comedy.
Really?
I didn't think about doing stand-up comedy ever in my whole life.
When he just tripped and you're like, I don't want to tell some fucking jokes.
No, actually, I'll tell you what happened is I had to have a foot surgery, and then I had to have spine surgery. So I was laid up on the sofa for a couple years. Honestly, I couldn't do physical stuff, which I was very much into, a lot of physical activity. So I was like, I got to do something. My brain was like, you got to do something, because I was just sitting on the sofa doing nothing. So I did a paint your pet portrait. That's this little thing, It was sipping paint. And I don't drink, so I painted a portrait of my cat. I'm like, yeah, how much can I do this?
Yeah, it's gonna drive you crazy.
Yeah. So then I'm like, stand-up comedy. So I did in high school. I did the drama stuff. I was
Yeah.
and I did comedy. I was a comedy person. But stand-up comedy, I liked George Carlin. I do like some of them. I don't watch it much, but I believe it was microdosing the mushrooms, which opened me up to a lot of other things as well.
Was he the one that George Carlin, the comic that inspired you, or like you can say they're like got the fire going?
I don't
Or you don't think
as
that
much as anybody.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you what got the fire going, Chris. At a certain point, at a certain age, and look, women start to be ignored. Older women are ignored. I mean, standing in line at a, whatever. It's happened to me. It's happened to my friends. People would just step in front of us in line. Like you have to go up, they step right in front of you. And if you make a fuss about it, if you say, what are you doing? They make you out to be a crazy
You're
old
the
lady.
crazy old lady. Yeah, they're fuck. Yeah, I know what you mean. But I wonder why that happens.
Because we are invisible now. We're not sexual objects anymore.
Well, maybe not to some people, but who's to say you're not?
Well, but to society in general, older women are seen as pretty useless. Women are seen as kind of useless in our society by a lot of people.
That can go back to like what you were saying, that they don't want to even hear you speak your mind.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear a woman.
I think there are a lot that don't.
And also, stand-up is also it's not a very woman thing.
Right. Like last night, I had the joke where I said, and for the 3 women in the room.
Were you counting Jenny?
I saw she won her little triad. Cool. Anyway, stand-up is not stand-up. That's funny. I'll tell you where I've gotten the support, though, is from male comics.
Yeah.
A few of them. And
some are really nice.
Oh, my gosh. And really a lot who are supportive to me. Once they see what I do. Because everyone, it is. They go, oh, shit, some crazy old lady. Which I am a little crazy.
I think we're all a little crazy. Right. I know I'm a little crazy. Manny's a little crazy. Definitely. Yeah. That's why we all enjoy like this conversation.
Right. And I love that... everybody's different, and people who can't stand other people who have opinions, not other people who can't stand opinions that are different from their own.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you want somebody who is exactly like you. Like you want a world filled with you?
That'd be horrible.
Yeah, I don't want, so people like that, that's as I've gotten older too. I'm like, if you are making my life harder and there's no payoff, get the fuck out of here.
That's a good way to look at it.
I don't waste my time. I have limited time. We all have limited time, but I'm much more aware
of it. It's the most valuable thing.
Right. I have limited time and limited energy. So I'm going to spend it on what it's worth spending on, like this.
Yeah, this is good. I like being able to, like, I'm sure a lot of stuff that I said don't go with your narrative, like some of the stuff doesn't go in my narrative, but we know how to understand each other and dig into where you learned that and where I learned this.
Right.
And why that. That's what's beautiful about conversation. But a lot of people can't have that.
Right.
I might have, what if I was like a hard leaning right? I was like, well, you're fucking crazy. Elon Musk isn't on ketamine and Trump for the world.
Right.
Like there's people out there like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know this shop gives off very red vibes with camo everything and American flags, but
I respect the American flag. I do. But I'll tell you, with what's going on in our country, I no longer stand for the national anthem. I sit. Because with the rights being taken away from women, with what I believe that is being done with our country, I think tearing it down. And I don't agree it should be torn down. Some people think it should. I think they are tearing down our democracy. They're tearing down our country.
It's coming
and
with
I'm
a lot
mad.
of carnage, like you're saying.
There you go.
It's coming with a lot of innocent people dealing with the bullet or
Right.
the.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So, and it's going to play out. Like I said, there are going to be so many unemployed people. So you use AI, okay, but you have a society of people that need some way
To live, yeah.
to live. So
I wonder what happens 100 years down the road where they realize they don't need humans that much. Do they start killing humans off? Do they start just putting them in like pods and feed them all their necessities and give them screens? What if we're all like on Wall-E where they just put us in pods and beds that make us fly around and we have a screen and food, so we're cool. Do whatever the fuck you want with the world.
Well, the thing is with letting us, the elite get all the resources and the working people kind of have none is you're killing your audience.
Yeah.
Who's going to buy your stuff? We don't have enough money to buy the $500 dog coat anymore or whatever.
It's like putting fentanyl in cocaine. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would you kill the cokehead? He's not going to come back.
I don't understand. So here's the thing. I think they add fentanyl. Is it more addictive? I know it's deadly.
But coke's upper, right? And fentanyl's like heroin from whatever. It's a downer. Why would you mix the two unless you like getting cross fucked up?
Oh, I think fentanyl's being put in heroin. It's not being put in cocaine. Because you're right. Or is it being put?
It's been like some people have died doing coke that they thought was just coke that was laced with fentanyl.
Right. So let me, here's my conspiracy theory on drugs. It's not a conspiracy theory. When you're a drug dealer, you need a market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you're gonna create a market, and you're going to create addicts, essentially, right? You give a lot of heroin. I don't know how much heroin you need. I've only done it once.
Whatever, heroin, coke, whatever.
Well, you get your people addicted.
Yeah.
So they need more.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, having drugs be illegal creates more drug addicts.
And it creates jobs for the government.
Well, I'm not tying it to the government. I don't know how it ties to the government.
I'm pretty sure they got their ties in it. I think they know the profit of the war on drugs. There's definitely a profit there for them.
I got to think about that. Or say more. I don't.
I definitely think that there's also money. Like there's money that where the government is spending money to. What is that song where he says that? Also, like it's like in the end of. So you're telling us that our government is spending money on getting drugs off these streets, but at the same time, we are the number one consumer type shit.
Well, the U.S. government definitely used marijuana in with the blues community in the 1950s. There was a movie about her. She's a huge blues Billie Holiday. They kept her addicted because it's dangerous. The message that black people were speaking through music, through the blues.
Yeah, getting messages out.
And the government's like, oh hell no, we need to contain this. We need to contain this. So drugs. Also, having marijuana be illegal. Do you know how many black people are in prisons because of the third strike law, and it's like due to marijuana?
Yeah.
Right? So they keep marijuana illegal. So another way to control people.
Well, it also, damn it, I keep spiraling onto new theories. Like it also goes back to prisons now are private. You can make money off of prisoners. So who's to say that's not also being trickled down? Like, you give us that third offender, we'll take him.
Oh, absolutely, that's happening, Chris. Yeah. Absolutely, and so. Prisons should not be for profit. They should not be for profit.
I mean, they are. They shouldn't, but they definitely are.
Right. And you know what else that shouldn't be for profit? Healthcare. They are making money off our health.
Yeah.
They are incentivized to not give us healthcare.
No, and it's fucked up because some people, like, trickling down to health insurance, some people will die from not being able to afford a health insurance.
Well, there's no health insurance, and then the insurance denying care, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they do. And I don't know if it's a function of insurance or a function of me being older. Mm-hmm. My claims get denied all the time, and they have to be appealed.
Oh, you're not the only one. I
So
know a
it
lot
could
of
be the
people
industry.
who-
It does it now. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wasn't sure. And that's not right. Do you know? And I was in administration in healthcare. I'm part of the problem. How much we spend not to providers to pay for care, to companies to manage the care,
Yeah.
to deny the care, and then to do the appeal. It is so expensive. The administrative costs, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. So anyway, healthcare, it's immoral to have that for profit. That's my opinion. It's immoral.
Yeah. We need to definitely do a part 2. Me and you.
I love our conspiracy theories.
Yeah. We need to do a part 2 for sure. I plan on only doing an hour because I have my kids waiting on me. I also had a plan for 2, but you never. When I meet someone for the first time, I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe they're good at talking, maybe they're not. I had an idea you were, but I've talked to some people I interview, and as soon as the mic comes on, it's just like they're not even here to talk.
No.
So, but we definitely need to have a part 2.
That would be great.
And I think we need to get Manny in here because he has a lot of introspect on the stuff we were talking about, but the fact they didn't have a mic cut it all out today. You were right. You said you're going to have something to talk about, and you didn't listen.
Yeah, next time I'll be on the mic.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, conspiracy theories, weed, drugs, healthcare. Who cares, right? As long as you're happy, that's what's beautiful. Nance, I always like to end the episode with letting my guests say one last message, one last quote, one last word, a sound, or anything you want to say before we leave.
Love each other. Peace out.
Love each other and always wear a condom. Till next time. Thank you, Nance.
Thank you.